creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University.
This is new to me.
The Winona State University?
Doing this show live.
Oh,
the
yes.
whole Culture Clique thing.
Culture
I have to
Clique.
remember, it's not Mondays, it's Thursday
I know,
at 12:30.
it feels like a Monday now because we're both in here. It's weird.
Clear skies, call it 19 degrees. It's only going to get colder.
Call it? What's the feels like temperature? I love those.
Oh, I don't have that on my synopsis.
Why
up
do they
top
do
here.
that? Feels like cold, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's, it's like 10 degrees. Feels like 8. Like, no, it's just cold. What's this feels like?
They say that instead of the word wind chill, which is what it is. Just say the wind chill.
Just say the wind chill, man. Yeah. Oh, it's 17 degrees, but it feels like 8. Well, isn't that relative? Depending on who you are.
The National Weather Service, who
lizards, it would feel much different to a lizard than like a bunny.
It sure would,
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like stop it, you guys. Don't do that anymore.
So
anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way because it's Culture Clique.
The National Weather Service, when they produce their text forecast, it's written very poorly, and they use words
It's typed.
Yeah, it's written in terms of its content.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So like they use terms like wind chill values as low as -10. No one
Isn't that redundant?
No one talks that way.
Right.
So
like
when
it's implied.
So when I get the forecast, I edit the bleep out of it. Like tonight, mostly clear, low of 13 below, wind chill 26 below.
See, I would have edited out the 13 below part.
Well, no, but then when you do the 13 below and then you add the wind chill, it makes it sound, dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I know.
Because part of it's for drama because we like to panic
it's
people
totally
with the weather.
Drama. It's totally drama. This weekend, it's going to be -400.
Yep, that's what I hear.
2 degrees Kelvin. I mean,
You can laugh out
Yeah,
loud.
you're just trying to make me laugh. I can
Yeah.
we are
2 degrees Kelvin, colder
we have
than
a-
interstellar space.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
see?
Well done.
Yeah.
You need to get closer to your microphone, Jennifer.
What is it?
I'm on it.
2.73 or something like that? Is the
Yeah,
average? Just because of
let's
the
call it that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, bunch of
2-ish,
decimals.
3-ish. It's just really cold out there.
It's very cold,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
I mean,
depending on who you are.
no,
right?
actually, Kelvin is the absolute temperature scale.
Right.
No more relative.
Yeah, 0 would be like that means like no temperature, right? Like
Yeah, 0.
You can't measure.
Which is
There's
what I don't
nothing- there's nothing
understand
there.
about. Which is what I don't understand when it's 0. How come it's so cold?
0 what?
0
Yeah.
degrees Fahrenheit. Why is it
Fahrenheit.
so cold?
Well, that's
Why does it feel cold?
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't it be neutral? There's no temperature.
that's
No,
not
that's
no
just the
temperature.
Fahrenheit
yeah,
scale.
Fahrenheit.
Okay.
That's
It's-
32 degrees Fahrenheit degrees below freezing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Celsius.
So, well, Celsius.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
0 is freezing. It's weird.
I didn't get a master's in science. I just got it in like ed leadership or something.
Okay.
So that's why.
Well,
That's
thanks
okay.
for tuning
You're doing
in.
okay.
Thanks for tuning in to Culture
Yeah.
Clique.
We'll be back
we'll
next
talk
week.
about time and clocks. I don't know.
No, let's talk about astronomy.
Yes.
She's Jennifer Anderson from the geoscience department here at the Winona State University. Are you professor?
I am. I'm a professor. This is my 18th year here.
Okay, you're
which
not the
is
chair of the
insane.
department.
Oh gosh, no, I'm not,
Not yet,
nearly that
anyway.
unlucky. Or lucky, I mean, lucky. Our
Depending
chair
on-
is excellent.
Right.
That's what I heard.
That's
it's
what I
it's
see.
lucky, but it can feel unlucky.
Yeah,
we
no.
can use that whole feel thing again.
No.
And she's been on with us before. When we talk about astronomy, usually on
Our Monday show.
our Monday show,
I
don't you
know.
know? But
But this is coming up this weekend.
right, so yeah. Do you want
Sure. Yeah. It's
to talk to Jennifer?
Talk
and-
about it, sure.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, so you're going to be out at Winterfest. Winterfest is in Merrick Park,
Yep.
just upriver from Fountain City.
Yep,
Across
yep,
the river
about
there.
20 minutes from here.
It looks like they're going to have a lot of fun. You guys got like hiking, snowshoeing, a bunch of like winter stuff, but then you're also going to have
Yeah.
telescopes.
I don't know. It must have been about
what-
10 years ago where they've been doing this Winterfest, and they just said, well, there's dark skies. I know an astronomer. Maybe she can bring some telescopes.
Cool.
And we've been out there nearly every year with them. So this is a regular event that the Friends of Merrick State Park Turtles, which is an acronym, and I don't know what it stands for, but it is a true acronym apparently. But they're a great group of Merrick State Park enthusiasts, and this is their winter festival. So Winterfest, it's they'll have snowshoeing and skiing. They have lighted trails so that the sun is going to set a little after 5, and the event starts at 5 this Saturday. And they're going to have a big bonfire. I think they'll have hot dogs and stuff, and they'll have s'mores you can make, and then I'll have a couple telescopes set up. This is all happening at their nature center. And so I'll have a couple telescopes set up on one side, and they've got like a learn to curl thing set up, and I was like,
you mean like the sport curling?
Yes.
Where are they doing that? Is that like on the water or like
no,
ice?
There's not water there. So I think
they have
there's like a I don't know, like a divot or something.
Okay, that they've like flooded
and they flooded, or it's naturally flooded, and they've like swept it off, and so people can try curling.
It's like old school curling, like outdoors.
They have to paint the targets on the ice and everything.
I have no clue. I'm the one over by the telescopes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me. And I try and stay off the ice. I'm not as graceful as you first assume.
I hear that.
So, but yeah, they have a lot of great events, and I've been out there a couple different years, and it will be chilly, but the skies will be clear. Well, we're hoping.
Yeah.
They're getting clearer and clearer. The forecast, of course, it was 100% cloudy yesterday. Today it's about 90% cloudy in the afternoon, around that time. But it depends what the clouds are like too. Like yesterday, I was looking, if they're really, if they're patchy, we can see through them. If they're very thin, we can still see the moon.
Right.
And Jupiter and Mars are going to be really up and beautiful.
Oh, cool.
There's a full moon that's rising about 4 o'clock or a day before full or whatever. Sunset's about 5:15. So. We'll be out there looking at whatever we can look for, and they've got a lot of fun events, and it's a good time. Like my husband's going to bring our 2 boys. They're 5 and 7. They'll get to
Are they well
make
behaved?
s'mores, and no, of course not.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, of course they are. They're delightful. They actually came out. I did an event at Merrick State Park in August.
Okay.
And they came out, and I gave a little talk about different space missions that were going on and what was up in the night sky, and they really wanted to help actively.
Okay.
And so they have now, the Merrick State Park Turtles are familiar with my 2 boys.
Okay.
They're like, you're bringing your assistants again. And I said, yes.
Oh,
Of course I
nice.
am.
Yes,
Nice.
of course. Yeah, hopefully in another few years they'll be trained, and I'll be able to like sit by the bonfire and have them just set the telescopes up for me.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Perfect.
That sounds like a good deal.
So Saturday, the forecast is partly sunny skies, high near 31, but that's like the daytime.
That's the daytime. So you
Yeah.
got to scroll over to the nighttime.
Yeah.
Here's what you're going to notice,
Okay.
which is going to bring us back to the groundhog.
Uh-oh.
It is really cold out today,
Yeah.
as
Right.
people have noted. It is
Yes.
some number of degrees with some number of degrees wind chill.
And it's one of those days where our high temperature is actually closer to those morning hours, and it's going to fall throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be clear skies tonight because the atmosphere is too cold to have clouds, to have water vapor condense out of it. So
Oh.
usually in the wintertime, that's the best time to do some outside observing because the skies are clear. They're literally too cold for water droplets to form, so you don't have clouds. But you said what's the high temp on Saturday?
It's going to be 31.
31. We're going to rise right up there to the, melting freezing point of water. And clouds are going to roll right in with those 30-degree temperatures. So we'll see. We're going to play it by ear. Here's the deal. It's a philosophical thing, right?
Right?
What happens if I think the weather forecast is right and I show up at Merrick State Park with a van that doesn't have telescopes in it? What do you think happens?
You'd have angry people.
It's
Well,
it's gonna be clear.
100% clear. Clouds will just swoop away as if there was not. Weather service will be totally wrong.
Maybe
So-
you should go in without telescopes and have your husband show up a half hour later with the telescopes.
Genius.
See what I did there?
You know what?
The universe.
That is not a terrible idea. I will not lie. Because honestly, I do feel like the universe and I are giving each other the side eye right now. And I'm kind of like, is it going to be clear? And it's like, I don't know. Now
doesn't
it's
have her telescopes.
89%, maybe. Yeah. I know. What if, I could bring just the empty bags or something. And then have the equipment show up later.
So you mentioned the groundhog there a little bit. It's a Groundhog's Day today.
Yeah.
Happy Groundhog Day to you.
I was trying to figure it out as you were talking there because you said, so it's too cold for clouds. So if the groundhog, how does it work? Like the groundhog
sees his shadow.
What happened this morning, right? Yeah. Did he see a shadow? Or she could be a female groundhog.
Right, you never know.
They never specify.
They never say that.
Poor, unlucky
It says
rodent.
6 more weeks of winter. I'm trying to see if he...
That means he saw.
Phil saw his shadow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he saw his shadow.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Winter. So it's, okay, right, he saw his shadow because...
It's sunny because it's cold.
Because it's too cold. Wow.
And if he didn't see his shadow and it was cloudy, then the temperatures would be in the 30s, and we'd say, we're going to have spring early. Of course, I don't really think the weather system on our planet listens to Punxsutawney Phil.
I was just going to say, well, couldn't you just...
I mean...
Why do we need the groundhog? And can't you just walk outside and say, well, it feels like warmer?
I know. What are you going to go with? The National Weather Service or some poor groundhog that just got woken up for no reason whatsoever?
So in the olden days, people couldn't tell... They couldn't feel the temperature. They didn't have a feels like prediction.
Right.
So in the olden days, they had to look and see if the groundhog felt it or could cast a shadow. Because groundhogs don't feel temperature
technically,
either.
If the groundhog can cast a shadow, so can you.
What?
Whoa. I know. I went there.
Well, in olden days, people must not have had shadows, I guess.
You're probably right.
Probably,
no,
but
I'm going to
not.
guess that... No, this is one of those great... it's kind of like if you see sundogs, you know what sundogs are?
Yeah.
And the rainbows on either side of the sun, well, that tells you that there's really cold air up in the upper layers of the atmosphere.
Ooh.
So if a cold front is coming in, you'll often see sundogs, and then the temperature is going to drop tomorrow. Wow. There's a ton of really cool, weather... folklore that is real. We have explanations for it now. But I think, back to the very original point, it just feels cold outside. I think, was it better to not know that it was 17 degrees rather than 8 degrees? Because I do think when you go outside, if it's 15 above zero, it's anywhere between that and 15 below. I'm just cold.
Right, same here. And so I suppose it might help you dress for the weather if you're not if you're not looking out the window or don't step outside or anything.
Right.
It might help you prepare, but at the same time, I agree with you. I think if it's cold, it's just cold. I'm dressed for the cold. I don't.
Although on Monday this week, I think the day started out below zero, and when I left home from work, it was 4 or 5 degrees, and it felt warm to me.
Warmer.
5 degrees felt warm to me.
Yeah.
Which is such a Minnesota thing.
Cold and warmth is just a relative. It's just a perspective, right?
Yeah. So when go ahead.
You can go.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, well, what about stars and stuff?
No, and then that's what I was going to ask about.
Yeah. What? Stars and ground. They don't.
No.
They don't
I was
care.
ask
They'll
you,
still be out no matter whether
doesn't.
the groundhog has seen his shadow or not.
Oh, really?
I can assure you.
Okay.
The stars are still there.
And when it's cloudy, are the stars still there?
Yes. Yes, the stars are still there. They're sleeping. Yeah.
Okay, so what is unique about? I mean, you explain the weather about you can tend to be a little more clear in the wintertime because of the lack of clouds and the lack of moisture in the atmosphere. But what else is unique about stargazing, sky viewing this time of year versus, say, spring, summer?
Well, there's a lot of, a lot of it has to do with the atmosphere and what the water vapor does, I was down at the Dark Sky Festival at Mystery Cave State Park in August, and they're going to run that
again.
Where
was that?
Mystery Cave Forestville State Park, which is about an hour from here.
Okay. Iowa, Wisconsin?
It's in Minnesota.
Okay.
It's down by the Iowa border, sort of. I'm trying to think of...
Fairmont?
No, I can't. The city, not Fountain City in Wisconsin, but there's a town called Fountain, or maybe Preston. It's sort of south of Whitewater State Park. So if you go to I-90 and head south.
Gotcha.
Cool.
But they're doing that again in August, and as the sun set, it got cooler, and all of a sudden, this beautiful mist rose out of the area that we were sitting in, which is lovely and looks great with the lightning bugs and everything, and yet really messed up the viewing through the telescope. So most of, it really is true, right? You want to try to have dark skies, and you want to have clear skies that don't have a lot of water vapor in them. So you can have nice clear skies in September when I'm opening the observatory on the roof of Monet, and the seeing, what we call astronomical seeing, is really terrible because there's so much humidity in the air that everything sort of is wavy and it bleeds out the details that you want to see. So it's kind of, that's always the thing, is like in the wintertime, that's the best time to spend outside. And I think, I don't know, maybe because it feels cold too, but things seem a little bit extra blue, a little bit extra crisp, right?
Yeah.
A little bit extra bright. And so I also like wintertime skies because some of my favorite constellations are up. So Orion, Taurus the Bull, the Pleiades, Gemini the Twins, and what's the other? Capella is the Chariot. But they also make, there are a number of bright stars. So there's Sirius, which is the brightest star in the Northern Hemisphere. There's Rigel and Betelgeuse in Orion. There's Castor and Pollux in Gemini. There's, I think it's Aldebaran in Taurus. And there's Auriga in Capella, or Capella in Auriga, I can't remember. But those stars actually make a giant circle in the sky, which was an important constellation in the Lakota traditions.
Okay.
And
nice.
so I was able to learn a little bit about that, and so that's always fun to point out. And we'll be doing some constellations at Winterfest as well. If we can see things, I'll have some laser pointers that point really far, and we'll be looking at constellations. And the moon is full, so it'll be bright. Jupiter and Mars are up. Whatever else I can think to find. There's that green comet we might take a look for, although it's a full moon, so we're going to get a lot of light, right? So again, the comet is a little faint, fuzzy thing, but I haven't tried to find it yet.
It might be drowned out, though, by the brightness of the moon.
It might be, but it's not. It's on. We'll try it. Yeah. We'll always try it if we can see it. So we'll be looking at a bunch of different things.
How worried were you about the recent asteroid striking the Earth?
Man. Yeah. Not worried enough to not prep my classes.
Yeah?
Right? I still prepped.
Right. Okay, good.
I was
you slept well?
Slept okay? I did, actually. I did. I slept fine.
So it came within 2,200 miles of the Earth's surface, and it was mostly southern?
I think the closest, southern tip of South America.
Yep.
Is where it was. I think it was about, 15 to 20 feet in diameter, something like that, a couple meters. So if it had hit our atmosphere, it is small enough that it would have been completely burned up. It would have been a lovely...
Would it have ricocheted or burned up?
No, it would have burned up.
Okay.
It could have ricocheted, but it has to come in at a really low angle, so that would be pretty rare. But yeah, it would have burned up in our atmosphere, probably left, would have been a really big fireball, like the Chelyabinsk fireball in 2013 over Russia. Would have scattered some meteorites all over the place, but you got to be about, they say 20 meters or so in diameter, so it's about 60 feet before we think the atmosphere won't just take care of most of that for us.
Okay.
But yeah, it was within the orbit of global satellites. It was one of the closest approaches of near-Earth objects we've ever recorded. I think I saw somewhere that it was the fourth closest object that we knew of when it passed by. Do you remember when they discovered it?
I don't.
Because it went past on January 26th.
Oh.
They discovered it on January 21st.
Oh, wow.
5 days ahead of time. Wow. Right?
That's pretty good.
That would have been cool, right? 5 days notice. No,
Is that quite common? Do we not know until they're almost here?
Because this thing is very small, so it doesn't reflect a whole lot of light, so we don't see it.
Right.
So we don't see it until it gets near to us. So yeah, often we're finding these. In fact, I looked up just to have some fun. Let's see. On January 26th, there's a NASA all-sky camera system. There's 17 cameras set out around North America that scans the skies over the U.S. for fireballs, the big bright things. It's run by NASA's Meteoroid Environment Office. And on January 20th...
How do you get a job there?
I know, isn't that cool? On January 26th, they saw 6 fireballs identified that evening, and then this would have been a 7th object that we knew that we flew past, but we saw 6 that we didn't know were even coming, and they were brighter than Venus in the night sky, which is how they define what a fireball is.
Wow.
And then I went to try and find more, because you can get... February 1st, yesterday, there was only one that was observed. And then January 31st, there were 13. So it's a random kind of number. We're constantly getting hit by stuff.
Right.
It just is small.
Did you say it needs to be like 20 meters to reach the ground, basically?
Yeah, I think the idea is somewhere between, like, let's call it 15 to 20 meters.
So, like, something that
hit
would
the
be
ground and make a crater.
devastating would be, like, way bigger than that then? Or
You have to define devastating. It's
Okay,
a matter of
sure.
scale. So,
Right.
Meteor Crater in Arizona, which is just under, I think it's just under a mile in diameter, maybe 3/4 of a mile in diameter. That was probably the size of a football field.
Okay.
So 100 yards,
Okay.
which is about 30 meters. That would have been regionally devastating that's in northern Arizona. So that would have been regionally devastating for the western part of the
US.
southwestern
Yeah,
part of our country.
So, was it this past spring NASA sent the Rogue satellite to blow up a
DART mission.
a meteor
No, so it's an asteroid. It hit an asteroid's
to knock it
moon,
off course?
but the moon of the asteroid to
Right.
knock it off its course. It worked swimmingly well. The double asteroid
But the
redirection
size of that
test.
thing makes these little fireballs.
Let's see, how big was that thing? I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. You're probably right. It's probably on that's
Significantly bigger, right, than what we're seeing
then
now.
what we're when we just randomly see things that
Yeah.
are meters in size. Yeah, I would say I can't remember, and I don't have my notes in front of me. So Didymos is the moon, I think, and Didymos was the asteroid, and then its moon is Dimorphos, and I think they were on the order of tens of meters. Maybe 30 meters or 40 meters for the moon. And we knocked it off its course. It's still in orbit around the asteroid, which is important. You don't want to, that's why we impacted a moon around an asteroid rather than the asteroid itself. Because what you don't want to do is go, we hit an asteroid and it's on a different trajectory now, and then find out that trajectory is right at the Earth, for example. So the nice thing with hitting the moon is that little moonlet around that asteroid is going to stay with that asteroid. So we know we're not changing enough of it. We're not going to hit it enough that it will become it will leave its orbit around that asteroid. So it's kind of like that asteroid is sort of hanging on to it for us.
Right.
But yeah, it was a hugely successful mission. So exciting.
Cool. It says here that it had a diameter of 170 meters.
So
gosh.
Is that Didymos?
It's okay. So it says Didymos I Dimorphos is a minor planet moon of the near-Earth asteroid Didymos.
Oh, so maybe that is 170 meters. Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So that would have been 170 meters. That's almost what, a football, 1.5 football fields.
Yeah, it's
roughly right. So that would have
400 feet-ish.
Yeah. So that would have not been great had it hit somewhere. That's a size that we are seriously concerned about.
Right.
So yeah, so we're constantly, there's people out there looking for this.
We're
Planetary
lucky, though.
protection.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Planetary Protection League?
I'm not kidding. It's like NASA's Office of Planetary Defense.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Planetary Protection and
Wow.
Defense. I know.
That would
I
be
kind of
a
want
cool
that
job.
business card, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a
Totally.
planetary defender. Stand aside. Stand aside. I need my Cheetos. I'm a planetary defender.
How long's the wait? 45 minutes. What if I told you I'm a planetary defender?
There
Yeah.
you go.
What if I told you there's something headed for us right now?
Right. We don't have 45 minutes. Let me in.
Mr. Westerman, we have a table right over here. Thank you.
Exactly.
I'm curious. I want to circle back. You were talking about the clarity of the night sky and winter versus summer and stuff. Why do the stars twinkle? Because it seems to me that they
love
twinkle
that.
more in the winter
do.
than they do in the summer. Why is that?
How interesting.
And they appear to change colors, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like a trick, right?
So one of the tricks, if you look at a star, it will twinkle. So it kind of, it kind of sparkles, and you're right. I've seen it, and it kind of changes color and things like that. So the issue is stars that you're looking at are so far away that they're basically like a pinprick size. And so as that very tiny beam of photons is headed straight toward your eyes, any interaction that it has with any atmospheric particle like dust or a little bit of water vapor or something like that,
Ice.
or even just bending, little ice crystals, it's going to kind of move around.
Right.
And so your eyes see it as kind of bouncing around because that light is just ever so slightly deflected on its way to you. If you look at a planet, so like right now, if you go out after sunset, Jupiter is the brightest thing I think it's in the southwestern sky. Mars is nearly straight south, so above the horizon in the south. So if you go out there and you look at them, they'll stay steady. They don't twinkle because they're actually like a disk of light. It's like more photons. And so while the photons on the very edges are doing that twinkly thing, you just get bombarded with, because they're so much closer to us, so they're not a point object.
Oh, wow.
I always feel like the stars twinkle more in the wintertime too, but I think that's because I'm used to the idea of like twinkling lights and twinkling.
Yeah.
Because really they should twinkle more in the summer, I would think, because there's more
I would think
stuff.
so too, more in the atmosphere, right?
Yeah, more water vapor and things. But I don't know. It just makes you think of like cold and ice and which is why you got to come to Winterfest, and then you can have hot chocolate and hot cider.
Exactly.
And make s'mores over a big giant bonfire.
Yeah, because it may be cold out, but with hot chocolate and s'mores, it feels like warmer.
Well, and we are all Minnesotans and can wear appropriate clothing.
Yes.
So if I may say, it is going to be cold out. Now is not the time to wear your ankle shoes.
Oh, come on! You're a college professor. You know.
I know. I see college students
Not
with
wearing
like shorts
socks
on. That day we
shorts.
got all the snow, I walked in and I was in the SLC and I saw 3 people and they all had like tennis shoes on with like ankle socks.
Yeah.
Like I could see the skin of their ankles between their pants and their shoes. I was like, how did you even get to campus? Because like there's 3 inches of snow everywhere.
All about the layering, kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I will be out there with 17 layers on.
Right.
Probably one of those big hats with the rabbit fur on the inside.
Nice.
I've got one of those.
I just got one of those.
Excellent. Really?
They're fabulous.
Should wear it in.
Yeah.
Little babushka hat looking thing.
Wear it into work.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else should we cover before you leave?
Oh, I don't know.
You gonna try any of the snowshoeing or stuff like that, or curling?
I like
She wasn't
snowshoeing.
going. Oh, you are going to snowshoe.
I don't know that I'm going to. You know, if it's clear and we can see stuff, I'll be busy.
Then you'll be busy.
Yeah, people come by, they stop. It's a very busy time. I've got 3 or 4 students who'll be coming out with me to help. And then we got to worry about making sure we get in to warm up every so often so that we don't just freeze our little toes off. That's usually the hardest part to keep warm, I think, is your toes.
And this is all going down Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday. February 4th.
5 to 8 or
8
so?
p.m.
Okay. And do you need...
Might
so
you,
this is a
might
Merritt
you
Park.
stay late?
We'll see how I'm feeling. I might be frozen solid by then.
Because the sun goes down 5:15, 5:30.
Yep, the moon will be up. We'll be able to see Jupiter and Mars after sunset.
Right.
So I'm not worried. We're going to be able to see stuff the entire time
Cool.
if we're out. You do need a park sticker or a day pass to get in through the gate, and then but the event beyond that is free.
Okay.
And so put everybody in a car and come on over.
Yeah.
Or park a block away and sneak in. I'm joking. I'm
It's
joking.
more than a block. It's a
Yeah,
long
it's-
sneak in the wintertime.
It would be a
Joking.
long scene.
I don't endorse that. I'm just having fun.
Exactly.
Feels like.
Yeah, feels like really. Feels
Yeah,
like
it's
really
going to
cold.
feel like it's awesome out. Especially if it keeps clearing up.
Exactly.
We'll do our best.
It'll be a nice
Jennifer
twinkly light.
Anderson, Winona State University Geoscience Department. Thanks for stopping by and being on Culture Clique. It's a very rare live edition.
We
of
do
Culture
live.
Clique.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
It's
lot,
fun.
you guys have a lot of culture, so I'm glad we're doing something live.
Mostly in a container in the refrigerator that says "Faye" or something like
yeah,
that
it says
on it.
"Do not eat."
Nice.
Exactly.
It's my yogurt. I do eat it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
oh. Well, you can.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. Thanks
Cool.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
hang on, I messed up.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Oh, you messed
we'll
up?
chat
No,
and
I
you'll
didn't
find
mess
the
up. Hang on.
1804B or something like that.
Hang on.
Oh, we have to be played
I
out.
can't believe the little rodent saw his shadow.
You know,
Oh, we
maybe,
can hear that, can't you?
Yeah, I can
Maybe
hear it.
Okay,
it was
good.
in. If he was here. would
Yeah,
you have
see,
seen his
maybe it
shadow
wouldn't. So
here?
maybe they'll have.
I need to be rude and just ask you to stop talking for 1 second, okay?
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.